Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're strapping in for a deep dive into Ridley Scott's Alien. This 1979 sci-fi horror classic. I mean, it's not just a film. It's an experience.
It really is. What always gets me is how Alien takes like the everyday, blue collar work and space and slams it headfirst into this like pure terror creature feature vibe. It's such a wild mix.
Totally. Not your typical space adventure, right?
Yeah.
We get this slow burn as we meet the crew of the Nostromo. They're hauling ore, just another day on the job.
Right. And you really start to feel like you're right there with them, just punching the clock in the vastness of space.
Exactly. So we've got Captain Dallas, played by, of course, the always amazing Tom Skerritt.
He's got that quiet authority thing down pat.
Totally. And then there's Kane, our executive officer, played by John Hurt. Let's just say his role is pretty unforgettable.
To put it mildly.
Put it mildly. We've also got Lambert, our navigator, played by Veronica Cartwright.
She brings this like nervous energy, which looking back, it's like foreshadowing the whole film's descent into chaos.
Oh, for sure. It's subtle, but it adds so much to the atmosphere. And of course, we can't forget Ripley.
Our warrant officer, played by the one and only Sigourney Weaver. Even early in her career, she just owns the screen.
Doesn't she? She stands up to authority, demands they follow safety rules. I mean, what a legend.
Ripley is a true pioneer for strong female leads in sci-fi. Like, she's the blueprint.
Couldn't agree more. And then we have Ash, the science officer, played by the incredible Ian Holm. His whole deal is shrouded in mystery for a good chunk of the film.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely something up with him from the start.
Oh, absolutely. And finally, we've got our engineering duo, Brett and Parker.
Played by the iconic Harry Dean Stanton and Yaphet Kotto. They bring that, like, working-class buddy vibe to the mix.
Totally. It feels so authentic, like we're watching a real crew just trying to make a living in space.
Makes the horror that much more effective when it hits.
Right. So they're cruising along, just doing their thing. And then, bam, a mysterious transmission jolts them awake from stasis.
And it's not a friendly hello, that's for sure.
Nope, not at all. Corporate orders send them to this desolate planetoid to investigate.
Talk about a bad day at the office, right?
Right. And the signal itself, it's just creepy, eerie. You just know something's not right.
Like walking into a haunted house in the dead of night, you know something's going to happen, but we don't know what or when.
Perfect analogy. And then they find it. This derelict alien spacecraft.
And it's massive, silent, full of shadows. You just know something terrible went down there.
Inside, they discover the remains of this gigantic alien creature, like enormous.
But here's the thing. Its rib cage is blown outwards.
Yes.
Something came out of it from the inside.
It makes you wonder, what could do that to a creature that size?
Right. It's like Ridley Scott is laying the groundwork, giving us these little clues that something truly horrific is at play.
And just when you think it can't get any worse, Ripley makes a chilling discovery back on the Nostromo. She's deciphering the transmission, and guess what?
It's not a distress call.
It's a warrant.
A warning that they ignore, of course.
Yeah, and that's when we get to Kane's encounter with the eggs.
Oh man, this scene.
He finds this chamber full of these, like, leathery, organic-looking eggs. You know the ones.
And like every horror movie character ever, he just has to get a closer look.
Curiosity killed the cat, or, in this case, something much worse.
The facehugger bursting out and latching onto his face. I mean, it's a moment burned into the minds of everyone who's seen it.
One of those truly iconic movie scenes. The sound design, too. That screech the creature makes. Jerry Goldsmith's score. Pure nightmare fuel.
It's like a symphony of suspense. You're on the edge of your seat, but you can't tear your eyes away. Then we've got Ripley trying to do the right thing, enforce quarantine.
Prevent whatever's on Kane from getting into the ship. But Ash, he overrides her orders.
Which, looking back, it's our first big red flag that Ash is not who he seems.
Definitely raises some serious questions about his motives. But before we can dig into that, we have what I think is the most shocking scene in the whole film. The chest burster.
You know it's coming, but it still gets you every time.
Every time. The buildup is masterful. They're all having dinner. Things seem almost normal. And then,
bam! This creature erupts from Kane's chest. It's gruesome.
the effects, especially for 1979, were revolutionary. The puppetry, the gore, it's so visceral and real.
It's a total game changer for the film. It shifts from like this tense, spooky vibe to full-on, we're fighting for our lives horror.
And they are. They're trapped on this ship with a hostile alien, and their options are, well, not great.
Not great at all. So, picking up where we left off, the crew is in a seriously bad spot. They're down a few members, they know the company's hiding something, and they've got this alien loose on the ship.
It's like the worst possible scenario all rolled into one.
Totally. But even with all that going on, Ripley, she doesn't give up. She's incredible.
She comes up with this plan, right? Self-destruct the Nostromo and get out of there on the shuttle.
A risky move for sure. But I mean, what other choice do they have at this point?
Right. It's either that or become alien chow.
Yeah.
But even with a plan, things don't exactly go smoothly.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. While Parker and Lambert are getting supplies ready, the alien strikes again.
And it is not pretty.
Those deaths, they're quick, brutal, and you really feel how relentless this creature is.
It just reinforces the whole this is a pure killing machine idea.
Yeah.
No remorse, just pure instinct.
Terrifying. And now Ripley is all alone. She's got to decide, try to escape or face the alien head on.
Knowing Ripley, I think we know which way she's leaning.
Yeah, she's not one to back down from a challenge. So she starts the self-destruct sequence and books it to the shuttle.
But of course, it wouldn't be Alien without one last, oh my God moment.
Just when you think she might actually make it, bam. She finds the alien has snuck onto the shuttle.
Talk about a nightmare. It's like, even with the ship about to blow, this thing is still a threat.
It's a perfect illustration of the film's theme, right?
Yeah.
Humans are just so vulnerable compared to this unknown force.
It's like the ultimate jump scare, only stretched out over the entire movie. You think you're safe, and then nope, the monster was with you the whole time.
So what does Ripley do? Cornered, ship about to explode.
Well, she does what Ripley does. She suits up, opens the hatch, and blasts that thing into space.
Such a badass move. Risky, but it works.
It's so satisfying to see her finally get the upper hand on this terrifying creature.
But of course, the tension doesn't end there. The alien almost claws its way back in as she's closing the hatch.
It's like watching a horror movie and fast forward.
Ripley has to use every ounce of strength she has to finally get that door shut.
Whew. What a sequence. Pure edge-of-your-seat filmmaking.
Finally, she can breathe, right? Tucked in with Jonesy the cat heading back to her.
But I bet that whole experience, the trauma, the horror, it's got to stay with you, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's the kind of thing that haunts your dreams. But speaking of things that stay with you, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the deeper stuff Alien is exploring.
Yeah, good idea. It's not all jump scares and monster chases. There's a lot going on under the surface. One thing that really stood out to me is how the film critiques corporate greed.
Yeah. I mean, the company is willing to sacrifice an entire crew just to get their hands on this alien.
It's chilling. It makes you think about the lengths people will go to for power and profit.
What's so clever about how they do it in the film is that it's subtle. We never actually see these corporate bigwigs.
Right. No boardroom meetings or evil monologues.
Yeah.
But their influence, their ruthlessness, it's all there in Ash, the android.
He's like this walking, talking representation of their cold, calculated logic.
He's just following his programming, prioritizing the mission over human life.
It's scary, right? It makes you think about blind obedience to authority and how easily things can go wrong.
Especially today, when it feels like corporations have so much power. Alien feels like this warning, reminding us to be critical, to question things, to stand up for what's right.
Totally. And, beyond the whole corporate greed thing, Alien also taps into our deepest fears of the unknown.
Yeah, the alien itself, it's like the ultimate embodiment of those fears.
It's this perfect blend of the familiar and the completely alien. And those biomechanical designs are just unsettling.
And not just the way it looks, the way it moves, the way it hunts. It's so unpredictable. It all just adds to the sense of dread.
Totally. And the way Scott uses darkness, shadows, the claustrophobic sets, it's like the ship itself becomes a character,
Oh, for sure. This menacing presence that's just as dangerous as the alien itself.
It's brilliant filmmaking. You never know what's lurking around the corner, so you're on edge the whole time.
You know what else I find interesting? The whole sexual symbolism thing, particularly with the facehugger and chestburster scenes, they're so visceral, so disturbing.
Yeah, those scenes definitely stick with you. And they're open to interpretation, right? Some see them as this violation of the human body, this primal fear.
Right, and others see them as representing birth, but like in this twisted, terrifying way.
It's fascinating how one scene can evoke such different reactions. It's part of what makes the film so complex, so thought-provoking.
Exactly. It gets you thinking, discussing, debating. That's the mark of a great film.
Totally. And speaking of sparking conversation, we got to talk more about Ripley. She is not your typical damsel in distress.
You're just the anti-damsel, right? Just the one doing the rescuing.
She's smart, resourceful, and she doesn't hesitate to take charge. Her character arc is incredible, a real testament to the power of the human spirit.
And let's be real, she really challenged those old sci-fi tropes about women.
Absolutely. She's not a sexualized object. She's not waiting for a man to save her. She is the hero of her own story.
And her influence is undeniable. Ripley paved the way for a whole new generation of strong female characters in sci-fi.
It's amazing to think about the impact Alien has had, not just on film, but on culture in general.
It's a true phenomenon. Sequels, prequels, video games, comics, you name it. It's everywhere.
It's like it redefined the whole sci-fi horror genre. It raised the bar for visuals, creature design, and just pure terror.
And that score, we can't forget that. Jerry Goldsmith created this, haunting, suspenseful soundscape that fits the movie perfectly.
It's one of those soundtracks that you can listen to without even watching the film, and it still gives you chills.
For sure. And the visuals, too. That gritty, industrial look of the Nostromo, it felt like a real spaceship.
Right, like a working-class spaceship. Not all sleek and futuristic, but functional.
And then you've got the derelict alien ship, this massive biomechanical structure. It's beautiful, in a terrifying sort of way.
Like something out of a nightmare, but also strangely mesmerizing.
Alien is such a unique film. It's scary, it's intelligent, it's visually stunning.
It's a film that stays with you long after you've seen it. It makes you think, and yeah, maybe it even keeps you up at night.
It's one of those films that just gets under your skin. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what makes it a true classic. It transcends genre, speaks to our deepest fears, but also to our fascination with the unknown.
It's about survival, about facing the things that scare us the most.
Perfectly said. So, to wrap things up, in our final part, we're going to go behind the scenes a bit, delve into the creative minds that brought this masterpiece to life.
We'll talk about the director, the cast, the special effects, and the lasting impact of Alien. And we're back, ready to wrap up our deep dive into Alien. So we've talked about the story, the scares, the themes, but let's shine a light on the people who made this masterpiece, starting with the director himself, Ridley Scott. Alien was, only his second feature film?
I think so, yeah.
And he just knocked it out of the park. The vision, the atmosphere, the storytelling, it's all so carefully crafted.
Absolutely. Like, think about the Nostromo. That gritty, lived-in feel. It feels like a real spaceship.
Right, and the crew, they feel like real people, just trying to do their jobs.
Exactly. He took this, fantastical concept and grounded it in a reality that we can connect with.
And that's what makes the horror so effective, right?
Right.
It's not just some monster popping out. It's this slow, creeping dread because we're invested in these characters, in their world.
Yeah, totally. And the way he uses those small details, the worn-out equipment, the casual banter, it makes the world feel lived in, and then the alien just shatters that normalcy.
It's like he sets up this sense of security, of routine, and then, bam,
Yeah.
monster arrives.
Speaking of the monster,
Yeah.
we can't talk about Alien without talking about H.R. Geiger, the mastermind behind the xenomorph.
Oh, absolutely. That creature design, it's iconic. It's one of the most recognizable movie monsters of all time, I'd say.
Easily. That whole biomechanical aesthetic, the fusion of organic and mechanical, it's pure Geiger.
And terrifying. But there's also this strange beauty to it, isn't there?
Definitely. It's sleek, it's elegant, it's horrifying, it's a nightmare brought to life. And the way it's revealed in the film, so gradual.
Oh, yeah. You get those glimpses, shadows, those hints of something lurking in the darkness.
It's a slow burn, for sure. And then when we finally see it in all its glory, oh man.
It's a sight you don't forget. And to think they achieved all that with practical effects, puppetry, a guy in a suit.
It's amazing how well it holds up, even today. It's a testament to the artistry and skill of everyone involved.
Absolutely. Now, we've talked a lot about Ripley, and for good reason. But we got to give Sigourney Weaver the credit she deserves. Her performance is incredible.
She's just magnetic, she embodies everything that makes Ripley so iconic.
That strength, the intelligence, the vulnerability. You really believe she's fighting for her life.
She brings so much depth to the character. It would have been easy to play Ripley as this, fearless action hero. But Weaver, she makes her real, makes her human.
She's scared, but she keeps fighting. And the rest of the cast, they're all fantastic, too.
Right, Tom Skerritt as Dallas, trying to hold everything together as the captain.
John Hurt as Kane, poor guy. His encounter with the facehugger really sets the whole nightmare in motion.
Veronica Cartwright as Lambert, her fear is just palpable throughout the whole film. And then, of course, Ian Holm as Ash.
Talk about a chilling performance. He plays that android with a hidden agenda to perfection.
It's all in the eyes, right? That cold, calculating gaze.
And how can we forget Jerry Goldsmith's score? It just adds another layer of unease and tension to everything.
Absolutely. It's subtle, but it's so effective. The music really gets under your skin.
So, wrapping up here, what do you think is the secret sauce? Why is Alien still so relevant, so terrifying after all these years?
I think it's a lot of things. The direction, the effects, the creature design, the cast, it all comes together perfectly.
It's a film that works on so many levels. It's scary, it's smart, it makes you think.
And it's just a beautifully crafted film, visually stunning and incredibly immersive. It's an experience more than just a movie.
Well said. Alien is proof that films can transport us to other worlds, make us face our deepest fears, and still leave us wanting more. And on that note, this brings our deep dive into Alien to a close. We hope you enjoyed the ride.
If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor and check it out. And if you have, maybe it's time for a rewatch. You never know, you might catch something you missed before.
Definitely. And as always, we love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Alien? Share your favorite scenes, your theories, your nightmares. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments below.
And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of film.
Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and may the facehuggers stay far, far away from you.